it has been a while since I filmed a video, and today I just finished my bullet journal. This was my first bullet journal, but I'd heard a lot about it, a lot of great things, so I wanted to try it, and it went really well. So there are a few things I'm going to change about my next one, and I also want to give you guys a sneak peek of my past one. I don't know, it's just, if you want to see how I set up my bullet journal for a productive time, then keep watching this video. So I have my little introduction page, which I just wrote my name down in calligraphy. I know I'm not good at lettering at all, so please bear with me. This is more of a practical than pretty journal, but it is what it is. And then like I said, I like my little flowers in the front, so I did the flowers. Keep in mind, when you're making a bullet journal, you can style it however you want. So you don't need to have this weird little doodle, terrible artist thing going on. I honestly kind of like the doodle look, so I pretty much use that the entire time. But you can be very particular. It's totally yours to customize. That's what I love about it. Just add some detailing. Okay, now I added some colors. I love these little water markers because they're super precise, so I can just keep it nice and simple without it getting everywhere. Add some little green touches to make it nice and vibrant. Okay, time for our next part. I actually saw this idea on Pinterest, I think. You just take a little Ziploc baggie. This is my first time trying it, but I just added some colors that I will have throughout the rest of my journal. And then you drip a little bit of water on it and smudge it around. And the idea is supposed to look like watercolor splatters, if you've ever seen that look. And it's not perfect, but I thought it was pretty cute. I smudged it up a little bit towards the end, but now on top of that, I just wanted to put a nice little quote. Like I did in my last journal. It's just a nice thing to look at every time you open it and just stay motivated. So I just chose a simple wake up and be happy quote. I know it's pretty direct, but I just think having little reminders everywhere to have a positive mindset can really help. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is write down our key. So for a bullet journal, you have different symbols that stand for different tasks and events, and I just wanted to use this book to make a nice straight line. Couldn't find a ruler, but it's fine. Now I like to use a dot for any tasks, an X for a completed task, just right over the dot, and then a little arrow for migrated tasks, a line for a canceled one, a triangle for event, a little dash for notes, and a little star for important things, and a different star for birthdays. So it's super simple to remember, and it just helps you organize your thoughts. Then I like to write down a table of contents. Eventually I'll label all the different pages with their numbers. That way, anytime I'm looking for something in my bullet journal, I can go right back to the table of contents and find it super easily. Okay. Next, I like to measure out everything. Just count the dots and divide it by how many sections you need. I'm writing out the rest of the months of this year to make our yearly calendar spread. This part is a little bit tedious to make, and as you can see, I'm not really a perfectionist, so I have some little weird dents and misplaced things. Now put whatever months you are using. I'm just putting the rest of 2020 in here. If you're starting this for a full year, just use an extra 2 pages. I think it really depends on how many papers you think you're going to use. So if you need a lot of room to plan out your days, then you're only going to want each bullet journal to last maybe a few months tops. But if you're someone who just wants a super minimalist daily agenda, then you won't need a bullet journal twice a year. You can just make it last your whole year. Okay, so then you just want to schedule out each month and put this little baby calendar in there for you to be able to keep track of dates and everything. Now, right about now is where you want to find your calendar or your bullet journal from before to put different events that you'll have in the next few months and copy it into your journal. I just write each day down and then I add little events for that day. That way, if I'm looking at what things will look like in the future, I just go right to this spread and I can find it super easily. It's gonna take a while to do this most likely, so don't worry about it. I ended up just listening to some music and having a good time with it. And it really helps embed those events into your brain. That way you kind of have them there in the back of your head and you start to remember what you have ahead of you. So I love how this looks in the end. It's super simple, minimalist, but it has everything you need. Okay, so the next thing I write is my goals and dreams with this pretty lettering. I know I'm still not good at modern calligraphy, but I'm working on it. That's another goal of mine, to get better at calligraphy. And then you write your goals for more practical things that you think you might actually be able to achieve. And I write my dreams as more lifelong sort of things that are far out there and will take a longer time. Now, for the next spread, I like to write a plant care item. I do not have a green thumb, so when it comes to keeping track of my plants, having a little list of the different plants with their picture and details of how to take care of them can really help in terms of keeping them healthy and, alive. So I just doodle out each of my little plants, really cute, and I write some details about them. So this is my fern. I write how much light it needs, how often it needs to be watered and fertilized, and it helps you keep track. And I did that for all the rest of them, and I think it looks really cute in the end. So I love this little page to keep that in track. Okay, so now I like to add in my recipe index. If you've ever been on my YouTube channel or blog, you know that I do like to cook and try different recipes, plant-based recipes, so I like to have a spot where I can just keep the different recipes that I try and ideas that I have in track. Now, I tried this recipe a little while ago for banana bread cinnamon rolls, so I just wanted to write it down here. That way I can eventually upload that to my blog and have a place where I don't lose it and can keep track of that. Okay, so I just like to reserve a good amount of pages, that way I can fill that up when the time comes and not lack pages. So, who knows how many recipes we'll be creating. So I just put that aside with a little paper clip. And now it's time for our next spread. I use this one quite often when I'm going to the grocery store. I just like to have a list of all the grocery items that I want to get, and I think having the list helps me realize what ingredients I need. Here's what it looked like in my last bullet journal. I'll pretty much be copying that onto this one. It only has wholesome ingredients, that way I am more lenient to not get crap at the store, which we all do, and it just helps you keep in track what you need to get. So I start out just writing down groceries on the top, that way I know this is just a little index for that. And then I finally found a ruler here, and I like to measure out each little section, which you can do like this, and then label each section based on their category. Now, this part might also take a while, so totally understand if you don't want to add this in your bullet journal, but it's a super convenient thing to have before going to the store. That way you can see every item that you need and just keep track of your pantry. I actually made a little index for all these ingredients, and I made a PDF that you can find in the description below if you want to make a grocery list similar to this. And then I just like to color categorize make it nice and pretty, and yeah, that's what it looks like. Super cute, super easy. Now I'm going to make my first monthly spread. I am making this sort of mid-July, so I'm just including the month of July, even though we're over halfway through it, but you know, for the last few weeks and everything. And then just write down all those events after you measure out the different lines. It'll look something like this. If you want, you can colorize events. I've seen people do that. I kind of like some pages just to be black and white, so I'm not going to do that for this one, but more colors will help. Now I like to measure out my weekly spreads. I like to have this little calendar at the bottom to keep track of different weekly events, like my work schedule, maybe a birthday that comes up that week, or an online class or something I need to keep up with. And then I make my daily to-do list, which I usually fill out the night before that day. My to-do list will include things like doing laundry, cleaning up stuff, running errands, you know, things like that. And then I definitely watch some Outer Banks here. Just started the show a little while ago. Pretty obsessed. And that's pretty much that. So, and you can go back to your key that we talked about before to write down different events and tasks, which I started to do here. Okay, so now for some more fun stuff. I have this little calendar to keep track of different things for my blog and channel. I'm trying to be more consistent with this. So my goal is to do that with this calendar again. And I just like to list out all these different things between Instagram, YouTube, and blog posts. And then I make another calendar similar to that and line it all up like that. You might not have a blog to keep up with, but whatever it is, maybe it's a fitness tracker, it could be school stuff or anything for your work and deadlines. It got a little bit late, so I did have to turn on some lights, so the lighting did change, as you can see. But yeah, this calendar is super helpful to keeping stuff in track, and you have it color-coded, that way you can know what's coming up next. So, highly recommend this one. You might notice I'm no longer watching Outer Banks in this clip. I'm watching Sleepless in Seattle, which is such a classic movie. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it. Okay. Also, if you're inexperienced at bullet journaling, I'm pretty new to it as well. I recommend listening to some podcasts. It can really help when you just have some free time. It can help organize your thoughts and plan out how you want to bullet journal yourself. I put a few podcast recommendations in the description below that you can just listen to if you're interested in getting started in this. It's such a great thing to have, so it's not for everyone, but for people who are less technology based, it can, help. So, and then I just wrote down all the dates, and then I filled in some little events and colorized different details of tasks. And that is all for this bullet journal. And I'm just going to do a little quick look through at everything that we've created so far, starting with that cute little quote page. And then we had our key to keep everything in track, table of contents, our yearly spread, goals and dreams, wow, plant care page, recipe index, and then we had our first, our grocery list, right, and that one took a while. Now, you can add whatever monthly trackers you want. Here's our monthly spread. And then we had our little weekly thing, and then just this tracker for my blog. So I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you again next time. Thanks. Bye!